If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to CFB Player Performance Knowledge for College Edition. It is week 4, Friday night, the last Friday of the summer 2025, September the 19th. It is the Shark and the Gun. We're getting into conference season. Tough week last week. We are ready to fire as conferences open. Guns, it's Friday night. You got a beautiful hat on. A great conversation to ensue. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, shout out to my guy, Kurt Signetti. We are going to be talking about that game, but let me tell you, Friday, it's for the Shark, it's for the Gun. It's going to be that way all the way through the college football season, regardless of the record. Now, if you're trying to get on us about our record on non-conference, I don't care, because I'm going to be dominating. We're in week 4, and week 5 comes out, and this is where I put my foot on the gas pedal and run you through the rafters of cash and tickets, and I can't wait to talk about this slate. A lot of great games in the top 25. We'll give our opinions, but I'm in the scraps. I'm in the dirt this week. If you go check out my VIPs, go get the deal on my Telegram. But, Shark, let's talk about the plays that pay the bills.
Yeah, absolutely. We see you guys in the chat. Our guy, Kum Grell, says, need the locks immediately. Little bros. Wow, how old are you? 75, 80, 90, 200?
Let's go.
Feels good to be young in this life. And let's talk some ball. Saturday's off for sending it. Tomorrow it will be the 20th of September, and we are going straight business. 12 o'clock Eastern, Fox, high noon game. Big 12 opener, Texas Tech at Utah. This is 10 o'clock Mountain Time, which is a very early first kick of the day. A lot of moving parts in this game. We're really targeting the ranked matchups on Knowledge for College this year. Guns, we're going through this. These teams have not played since 1973. I like to say data abundant. I will say here, not much information at all. Any thoughts?
It's a very tough game, and I think this is probably the barometer game when we look at these two teams, because I think these two teams could contend to get into the Big 12 Conference Championship. Now, this is the first big challenge from one of these teams, so we don't even have any good sample size against competitive teams, because they basically face bottom of the FBS and maybe some FCS as well. So tough to pick this game. You have two great quarterbacks in Devin Dampier coming over to New Mexico. Done great. He's done what he's supposed to do with Utah so far, but we haven't seen the test yet. And of course, Baron Morton for the Texas Tech side, same type of situation. Both offenses are putting up some big numbers as well. Over 500 yards of total offense, and both defenses are holding opponents to 230 yards of total offense or less. Then you got to look at Texas Tech. They put up 58 points per game so far. You have Utah that's put up 46 points per game, but you're seeing a total here at 57.5, maybe even gone lower since I actually wrote this up. It just seems you would say that would seem like a high total, but not college football, especially with two electric quarterbacks. Do I think there's going to be a shootout? I do not. I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair. While this is not going to be on my card on Saturday, if you go check out the VIPs, this is just a lean on this one, because I need to see a little bit of a sample size, knowing that this is the best defense that both teams have faced, and I want to see how Dampier reacts, and I want to see how Baron Morton reacts in this situation, in this environment, and that thin air in Utah is going to be very tough, but the line is going in the opposite direction. It's not going towards the Utah side. It's going through the Texas Tech side. Very interesting. We're going to have to just watch this game and pass, but I do lean towards the under at 57.5.
Yeah, again, this 10 a.m. start is really going to just kind of open up a can of worms here. It's very unpredictable. Last year, actually, Texas Tech, their first road game of the year, they did open up on the West Coast. It was a game at Wazoo, September the 7th last year, 2024. The game did go under. They did actually lose emphatically 37-16. And it's pretty much exactly what we're talking about here. It was an early game, and it was just all over the place. Texas Tech had 4 turnovers in the game, 80 penalty yards. Somehow the game finished at only 53 points with over 900 combined yards in the game. And truly, if you look at what these teams have done so far this year, they're both 3-0 straight up and 3-0 ATS. Neither have really faced any sort of competition. Utah has faced Arkansas Pine Bluff, Kent State, who is absolutely abysmal out of the MAC, and Oregon State, who looks really down this year. And Utah has faced a equally, maybe not as bad, but I think relatively poor schedule against a very weak UCLA team, Cal Poly in their only home game, and Wyoming. If I had to go any direction in this game, I would look towards Utah to cover this. I think Baron Morton is susceptible to another high turnover game on the road. I think Utah just opening up Big 12 play here, of course, coming over in recent history to this conference. They're well coached. They have a lot to play for to really start the conference season right. This is getting steamed down. This was at -4 before. It's 3.5 now. It's not a pretty number, ultimately, in what projects to be potentially a tight game. You can get -2.5 at -152. Again, not fantastic. I do think Utah would be the look in this game, but we will keep it moving to much better games. Next game on the card, 3:30 in Norman, Oklahoma. Auburn at Oklahoma. SEC opener for both these teams. As we said, we're opening conference play here in week 4, and we are glad for that. We're seeing a lot of matchup data here. These teams did actually play last year. Of course, Oklahoma coming over from the Big 12. A lot of this conference reconstruction, really finding new matchups, even in conference play. Game last year, Auburn actually lost 27-21 in a game they absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage. This has flipped the other direction. Oklahoma looks quite good this year. We saw it in week 2 against Michigan. I think probably a repeat here. Gunz, looking at Oklahoma this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at Oklahoma. I think this is going to be a banger of a game. Auburn versus Oklahoma, of course, the revenge angle that everybody is throwing at everybody with Jackson Arnold coming back. But you know me, I don't back the quarterback coming back to his old team. I always back the defense because who knows that quarterback better than the Oklahoma Sooners? They're 3-0 on the year, and they've just absolutely dominated their competition. They have a plus 28-point differential and a plus 292 net yard average, and that includes playing Michigan. Then you got to look at Auburn, 3-0 on the year. They have a plus 23-point differential, plus 129 net yard average. But we got to look at how this Oklahoma team plays because they've gotten better. Vanderbilt has built himself a team. The problem with them last year was the offense. The defense was absolutely elite. Now he has both, basically, with getting John Mateer at quarterback and then getting the new OC as well. Oklahoma can beat you in the pass game and the run game. They have they put up 473 yards of total offense per game, and Oklahoma is so solid on the defensive side, holding opponents to 181 yards of total offense per game. They held Michigan to 288 yards of total offense in that game in week 2, and 246 yards below their season average as well. This is how good this Oklahoma defense is. Now, if you're looking at the Auburn side on the defense, I do have the suspect angle with this one. While this Auburn team defense did carry them during the season, they didn't look great against Baylor. They allowed Baylor to get 483 yards of total offense, and that was 419 in the passing game. And with John Mateer can pass the ball, he can run the ball, he can do whatever he wants on the offensive side of the ball. These teams did meet last year. Yes, Oklahoma did win that game 27-21. 1.5-point road dogs, and Shark and I talked backstage, and it was an ugly game. It was almost like, how did Auburn lose this game type of mentality? However, the line ain't showing that. The line is 6.5 favorite for Oklahoma. You might think the revenge angle is in there for the Auburn Tigers, but I disagree. I think this is more of an Auburn line. Big advantage with their defense, I think, on Oklahoma's side. The offenses, you can say what you want, but Jackson Arnold needs to run to make that offense produce. And Oklahoma can stop the run. Now, you could say, well, Michigan had some big runs in that one. They had one big run, okay? And then everything else, Oklahoma controlled the game. So I think this is an Oklahoma spot, not an Auburn spot. Give me Oklahoma minus 6.5 as a play.
Yeah, and our guy in the chat says, would you rather take, I think he means Oklahoma University, not the Oklahoma City Thunder in their training camp run tonight, but versus Auburn plus 20. I think there's definitely a higher chance that Oklahoma gets some margin in the game, winning by 10 plus, going towards 20. I think that the plus 4 is clearly the right side there. Guys, what do you think on that?
I mean, I hate taking alt lines in college because I always think that lines in
teaser for what it's worth.
I don't tease college either. That's what I'm saying. It's like you don't tease college because college lines are very loose. They're not like NFL lines, which are super razor sharp, where you can get advantage of getting over key numbers. You don't have that in college football. So taking teasers in college, I would absolutely tell you 100%, do not do it. If you like a play, you take the play and you just ride with it. That's how I've been playing this for years. I've never put a teaser on any one of my cards. So I would say this: you're either going to take Oklahoma, you're either going to take Auburn, or you're going to pass on the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have a hard line stance on that. I don't really love adjusting lines in general, but I do think the +4 will be the right side if you want to bet that. In terms of the actual game for me, I think this is an Oklahoma spot. I don't love the game. We'll keep it moving. Next game on the card, this is going to be my top spot for the entire show. So let's lock and load, as the gun would say. Shots fired on a suddenly not so casual Sunday week 4. Michigan, Nebraska, Big Ten opener in the center of the country, Lincoln, Nebraska. I was saying to Guns before the show, this is the biggest game of the entire week, in my opinion. This is Matt Rule finally with an opportunity to beat Michigan. 4 straight losses by Nebraska by emphatic margins to the McCarthy-Harbaugh Wolverines. This is a different group. This is a quarterback that's projected to potentially be great. However, he just turned 18 years old in August. We were talking about this before the show as well. It's really difficult, no matter what your pedigree or the projections, to travel well as an 18-year-old to hostile environments. And you saw it in week 2. Michigan could not handle Oklahoma in Norman. 14-0 at the half, and it got barely any better in the second half. Little flurry Michigan third quarter, complete lockdown Oklahoma fourth quarter. The last time these teams played, Michigan did blow out Nebraska in Nebraska 45-7 as 17.5-point favorites 2 years ago. And this opened at -1.5. I think margin is coming. It's my top play on the board. For those of you guys who hang out with us on Knowledge for College, take +1.5 and let's cash. Guns, any thoughts?
2 different teams. It's 2 different teams. Like you're talking about the national championship team that absolutely thumped. Wouldn't beat Bama, and then they just rolled against Washington, and then they won the national championship. That was last time Michigan played Nebraska, and Nebraska was not Dylan Raiola and stuff like that. But here's the problem that I have with both sides, and this is why it's a complete pass for me on both angles. Now, you have Nebraska that's 3-0 in the year, but they haven't been tested. They have a +41 point differential and a +343 net yard average. Yes, we don't have a good sample size with them, but they've dominated the opponents that they face. And I know Matt Rule year 3 usually has his team running on his system. And then you have Michigan that their only loss in the year was against Oklahoma. And they took that loss and they came back home in the big house and won 63-3 to Central Michigan. Dating back to last year, Michigan has not done well on the road. This is why I want to stay away from Michigan. They're 1-4 straight up in their last 5 road games. That includes a 24-13 loss versus Oklahoma in Norman. And they got absolutely dominated in that game. And last year in 2024, -4 point differential, -43 net yard average. Only win was against their little brother, Ohio State. I've said it on shows before. That is their last road win. And this is Nebraska. In situational, I would say, yes, this is probably a better spot for Nebraska. It's the third leg of a 4-game homestand, 7-2 straight up in their last 9 home games. However, my brain goes back to what happened in week 4 last year. Similar spot. They just were sitting nice and fat and sassy at home, and they go and get an Illinois team, and they were a 9.5-point favorite versus this Illinois team on the 4th leg of a homestand. Guess what happened? They lose the game outright as a favorite. Now you're seeing them as a dog at home. Also, Nebraska in Big Ten openers, not successful. 2-6 straight up and 1-7 ATS, dating back to 2017. So from my perspective, I know Shark's got a different opinion on this one. I would say, don't play any team. Go to the next one. There's better spots on the board. Michigan sucks on the road, and Nebraska sucks in these situational spots. I want to see if this is really year 3 true Matt Rule, and then I'm going to start back in Nebraska. I did take their over on their win total like I do every single year, like a sucker, because I know Nebraska is going to be good this year, but I think this spot just feels funny, and when my gut tells me not to take it, I'm not going to take it, so I pass.
Yeah, which is fine. But something that I really do believe in, and this applies to all sports, sometimes there's just really a coming of age type of game for a team. And again, you don't have to go nuts and put, 10 units on this. It's just 1 or 2 units. It's not going to break your bankroll if you lose. But this is really just the spot you have to back Nebraska. First of all, totally understood it's not the same team. The whole point of line functionality is the line integrates roster 1 year to the next. That's the beauty of the line, just telling us the story. But this is noticeable, coming down 2.5 touchdowns from the previous projection. In terms of what happened last week, I mean, Michigan demolished Central Michigan, fine. But what they did at Oklahoma was highly unimpressive. And just going back to that Nebraska game last year, I think slightly different environment. It was a primetime game on a Friday night. That does matter. 3:30 on Saturday is much more of a centered point for a college football team. They have a full week of practice. They're not playing under the lights. Maybe they're not feeling too big time. Of course, this guy, Dylan Raiola, has been noted for having like the Pat Mahomes haircut, trying to be Mahomes, even runs like him on the field. I think he might have been a little big time on himself last year. That game, actually, Nebraska started out great. They were up 17-10 at the half and then just fell apart and got outscored 14-0 in the second half. Really is a top spot. Take plus 1.5 and let's cash. Gunz, any more thoughts?
No, fuck this. Fuck this game. Let's go to the next one.
You had your hand up. I thought you wanted to say something.
No, I was doing the Dylan Raiola, Pat Mahomes. You ever see him when they do this? Oh,
I have,
no,
yeah. No, I mean he absolutely. I mean Pat Mahomes is like 100%. This guy, he's absolutely trying to be Mahomes, like at all points in time. Well, why not be Mahomes tomorrow? Let's dominate. Next game on the card, we're going to 7:30. Big time ball here. Illinois at Indiana. Big Ten opener, 7:30 in Indiana. This is going back to old reliable last year. Curt Cignetti, Gunz's favorite coach, I think, in the entire sport. The buy hat is engaged. Gunz, what's going on here?
1A, 1B with Marcus Freeman currently, but Marcus Freeman may be dropping down, but I love me some Cignetti. And Cignetti's playing a home game versus a top 10 team. A top 10 team now has continually owned him, but this spot feels right that we're going to see in Indiana absolute domination. Indiana is rolling through their competition. This is the first test of the year. They plus 44-point differential, plus 371 net yard average. Yes, they haven't played anybody all year. Indiana kind of in a similar spot with a plus 38-point differential, plus 137 net yard average. But at least with Indiana, we have a little bit of barometer, right? Because they played Duke. They would play Duke on the road in week 2. Illinois won that game 49-19, but they lost the yardage battle, minus 19 net yards. How is that possible? I can tell you why that's possible, because Duke and Mensa turned the ball over 5 times in that game, and that turned into 21 points. That's the difference in the game. Indiana is 9-2 ATS as a home favorite dating back to last year. This is Cignetti, I win, Google me type shit. And then you have Indiana, 4-1 straight up, 5-0 ATS in the last 5 meetings versus Illinois. Yes, that dates back to a couple years, but did lose the last meeting 48-45 as 4.5-point dogs. They are a minus 6.5 favorite, and they are the lower ranked team in this situation. Guys, think about it. When you make a favorite with a home team that hasn't been challenged, first challenge of the year, and same thing with Illinois, they haven't really had that big road, Big Ten game. This is Indiana all day long. I put it, this is a VIP play I'm giving you guys, folks. This is a 2-unit banger. Give me Indiana minus 6 as the play.
Yeah, and that's a great point you just brought up. And we said it with the first game, Texas Tech against Utah. But these conference openers, a lot of these games, both teams do come in hot against poor competition out of conference. So for either side to be like so convincing when they've been playing really bottom feeder competition, that's where you have to go back to this historical stuff. Curt Cignetti, 9-2, as Gunz said, is a home favorite last 11. And just truthfully, I think if you actually look at what's happened this year, I think Illinois does have a softer schedule. They played an FCS team that's D2, of course, Western Illinois. I'm not impressed. Then they blew out Western Michigan out of the MAC, also terrible. That game at Duke is very noteworthy, though. Duke has been unimpressive this year. Their only win themselves was against Elon, not Elon Musk, the university.
It's the turnovers, man. That team just loves to turn over the football. That's their problem.
Without question. And again, it's just I'm less impressed by Illinois. And final point on this is really just historical stuff that I think, generally sharp conversation is centered around. When you see the number 19 team in the country laying a touchdown to the number 9 team, significant discrepancy in terms of what the books think and the rankings think. And the rankings, more often than not, are more narrative, bias, a little politics in the sport. The sports books are numerical objectivity. So I think that's what you're looking at here. I think that truly at -6.5, you're getting a great number as well. I could see this being a 7 to 10 point game. Listen, this is sports betting. You don't need a blowout. You just need to win the bet. I think -6.5.
Baby. You know Siggy's going to cover for us. He always does.
Precisely. I agree with the gun. I haven't gotten there yet, but the buy hat is certainly a dominating aspect and keeping it moving. Next game on the card, we're going out of conference, 7:30 in Nashville, Georgia State Sunbelt at Vandy SEC. Interesting to call them Vandy SEC, bottom feeder for about 25 years outside of a pocket of time from Jay Cutler going back about 20 years. This is a different version of Vandy. Diego Pavia is a dog. He was great last year. He covered almost every spread. Gunz and I were talking about this in the summer. We're watching the Netflix show. This guy trains at like 4 a.m. He is absolutely focused. And this team is really just running over the competition. Gunz, this game could be a little tough. It seems like a trap before they open up their conference calendar. I can't say Georgia State has looked particularly impressive this year either. You also know that, but you're taking the over.
Yeah, I think Tate McRae might be watching that game. And shout out to Theo Vaughn trying to get with Diego Pavia's mom. You see that dime piece? My God. And we don't want to use the term MILF, but woo-wee. Pavia's got a gorgeous looking mom. But we're here to talk about football, baby. We're talking about Georgia State. We're talking about Vanderbilt at First Bank Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, Vandy's done everything they're supposed to do. They're winning football games, 3-0 on the year. Clark Lee is my guy coming from Notre Dame. Shout out to there. Then you have Georgia State coming off a big win, FCS Murr State, but they're 1-2 on the year. They haven't beat anybody in FBS. Georgia State's defense is very poor this year. They've allowed 695 yards of total offense to Ole Miss, SEC opponent, week 1. Then they allowed 401 yards of total offense to Memphis at home. They've allowed over 200 yards rushing to both of those opponents, and I think that is an advantage that Vandy's going to take in this one because Vandy has put up over 200 yards per game rushing and 5.8 yards per carry this season. Revenge angle here for Vandy. Remember, Vandy lost to Georgia State on the road, 36-32, -9.5 point road dogs. Now you're seeing them as a heavy favorite here, but the total is much more interesting to me. Why? The total was 44.5 last year. Now you're seeing the total at 53.5. Significant change from less than 1 year since these two teams met last. Also, this is the highest total that Vandy has seen all year with all the opponents that they have faced. Also, got to look at Vandy. 13-2 to the over versus non-conference opponents dating back to 2022. I think Vandy is in that position right now. Their mentality is we're going to score, and put their foot on this Panther throat. Give me Vanderbilt over 53.5 as the play.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. As you said last year, 36-32. You know, I was thinking about that game. I had forgotten that they did lose outright in that spot last year. In terms of the actual spot this year, it's less of a trap. If you look at their calendar, they just played 2 fairly big-time games. They actually get 2 weeks here. They play Georgia State, then Utah State before opening up their SEC calendar, which I think is very important, where they might actually be more focused on this game to get revenge. And again, if you guys watch the Netflix show, this guy training at 4 a.m, he's the type of guy that wants revenge, 100%. Also disrespected coming out of high school. He's undersized. He's had to work harder than most to get there. Those are the type of guys that will turn up against anybody, particularly a team they lost to last year. And speaking of the calendar spot last year being not the same as this year, last year it was actually a trap. They were playing at Georgia State before they played at Missouri the next week, and then Alabama after that. So last year it was a huge look-ahead trap. This is not. That's why this is at -26.5. I mean, this game projects to be some ridiculous thing like, I don't know, like 55-10 or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So the gun likes the over. I like the over. I also think Vandy probably just blows them out of the building. Take Vandy and the over and keeping it moving. Next game on the card, we got a bunch of different random games here we've been looking at. We will go to UConn at 3:30, taking UConn at -21. Not a whole lot of complicated handicapping going on here. This is really a good UConn home team. They have 1 home game on the year. They blew out a team Central Connecticut. That's an FCS team, but nonetheless, they have the capability to cover big spreads. They were laying 28.5 points, which I know going back to the summer in August, the average person at a bar would say, are you kidding me? There's no way I'm laying 4 touchdowns with UConn. That's classic,
Wait, we're talking about UConn basketball or football? What are we talking about?
That's what I'm saying. And I know that I didn't have the conversation, but I can almost guarantee if we did like a survey before week 1, we were going around the country and we were asking just average people at bars, are you laying minus 28.5 tomorrow with UConn? They would say, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Well, they did win the game 59-13. And if you go back to last year with this particular quarterback, Joey Fagnano, he was actually hurt last year for most of the season. He did have 3 home games last year. The first 2, before there was a little fatigue later on, both blowouts as well. It blew out Merrimack 63-17, minus 15.5, and absolutely demolished Buffalo 47-3. And if you look at what UConn's done the 3 weeks this year, as I mentioned, week 1, home blowout, they almost beat Syracuse on the road. That's a very impressive effort for them. And then last week, they just kind of let their energy down against Delaware. I believe Campaign 1, FBS football, coming out of the Colonial and FCS prior, following the footsteps of James Madison. But I think they kind of fell apart last week. It was tough. Road back-to-back, had competed against Cuse, let that bottom out. Now they get Ball State. Ball State looks absolutely terrible. Their only road games this year, they've lost 31-0 and 42-3. And their only win has come against an FCS team, University of New Hampshire, which for those of you guys who like some local knowledge on knowledge for college, that's actually where Chip Kelly got his start up there, University of New Hampshire. He was, I think, the offensive coordinator back in like 2004. So doesn't really matter anything. UConn should blow them out in this one. Take UConn and let's cash. Next game on the card, going back to the gun, Washington at Washington State. 7:30 in Pullman, Apple Cup here, 2025. Washington State last week lost by 45 points at North Texas. Now they come back. They don't look very impressive this year, Gunz. You've noticed looking at the Huskies.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the line. We talk about line functionality on this show. This is significant line functionality. This Washington State team is way different than it has been in the past. And this is the Apple Cup, I know, but I'm going to be taking the favorite on this one. Now, Washington State is coming off a 59-10 loss to North Texas. This is where this team is dipped down to. Minus 135 net yard average, minus 5 in turnover ratio as well. So this team can turn over the ball and they lose the yardage battle. Washington's coming off a bye week. So they're going to be prepared going against their rival here. First 2 opponents were lackluster in Colorado State and UC Davis, just absolutely dominated those games. Now, the home team is 0-4 ATS in this matchup last 4 meetings. Washington is actually very good at Pullman, too, 4-0 ATS in those spots at Pullman. And now you're seeing this line at minus 19.5, minus 20.5. The line just keeps jumping up and down on this one, especially maybe getting towards that key number of 21. Last season, this is a revenge angle here for Washington because they lost 24-19, but that was John Mateer. That was a different offensive coordinator, a different coaching staff. This is a very different team. And they were a 6.5-point home favorite in that situation. Now they're a significant road favorite in this one. This is Washington all day long. Washington absolutely thumps their rival. Give me Washington minus 19.5 as the play.
Yeah, I mean, after watching that game last week at North Texas, I don't think anybody in any logical mindset outside of maybe some fairly biased alumni or maybe Drew Bledsoe up at his winery up there in Washington taking Wazoo here. But I mean, Gunz, you saw the winery stuff. This guy's got some great wine. I had some last year. It was actually fantastic. You had it?
Yeah. No, I haven't. He's the GOAT, though.
He is the GOAT because he got hurt versus the Jets on right after 9/11. Let Tom Brady take over. But
that's right. I still love Bledsoe, though.
Same, without question. He's probably the most famous alumni from Washington State, correct?
Ryan
Football
Leaf.
wise.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf, right?
Well, Ryan Leaf is he's pretty much the dictionary definition.
I know, but he still felt like if you talk, I don't think people would know that Drew Bledsoe was a Washington State quarterback. I would think that like Ryan Leaf is more infamous than famous. I was going
to say he's the definition of notorious. Yeah. Absolutely one of the worst number 2 overall picks he was right behind Peyton Manning, correct? Or no?
Yeah, he was like, it was pick number 2. Right.
Peyton Manning, right. Mm-hmm. Great stuff here. We love the trivia and keeping it moving. Final game on the card. We'll take some questions. If you guys have questions in the chat, get them ready. My final play, we're going really small market stuff here, but this is where I think there's a lot of value oftentimes in college football. Taking Louisiana on the money line at Eastern Michigan. If you really go through this, Eastern Michigan looks absolutely terrible. They have gotten blown out twice on the road. They lost by about 30 at North Texas. They lost by 30 again last week at Kentucky. I think even more importantly, their only home game this year out of conference before they go into the MAC, they actually lost outright as 23.5-point favorites to an FCS team, Long Island University, the Sharks. I mean, this is what we're talking about here. Louisiana hasn't looked great either, but Louisiana is just at a higher pay grade than this Eastern Michigan team. Truthfully, I don't have a lot more on it. It's Ypsilanti, Michigan on a Saturday. Take Louisiana and let's cash. Gunz. I mean, Louisiana
on a vacation in the wintertime too. Ypsilanti, Michigan. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I swear, like, I think that EMU might have some upside once they get into MAC conference play, but just not here, right?
No. EMU used to be that team you would back as a home dog every single time. That team has dropped off the face of the earth. Maybe it's the NIL era, who knows? But that team is not good. They're like Akron 2 years ago bad, or not Bowling. Like, remember Bowling Green and Akron used to be bottom feeders. It's Eastern Michigan now for sure.
Yeah, and even Kent State,
Kent State used to be good. They kind of fluctuate, but Kent State's in that epsilon of suckiness too. So yeah.
Yeah, and truthfully, the MAC has been probably the worst conference in Division 1A for the last 30 years. Correct?
I think it's not the MAC anymore. I think it's Conference USA. I think they took an uptick up, but a little bit. But I mean, I would say if you put a MAC team against this Conference US team in a bowl game, I think if you put all of them together, I think the MAC would win that matchup.
Yeah, just going back about 30 years, I would say the MAC is probably the worst conference in Division 1A. But 32 minutes, and we got best bets.
Best bets. Here we go.
CFB knowledge for college, Friday into Saturday, week 4, the gun, best bet.
Yeah, I didn't wear this hat because it looks so good on my noggin. This is Signetti time. This is Signetti coming out and saying, this is my arrival into the Big Ten. I am not a bottom feeder anymore. I can beat Big Ten teams. Unlike a guy in Penn State named Franklin. This is a guy that is going to be winning games in the future, and he's only in year 2 of this program, and this is going to be a staple game for the Indiana Hoosiers. I think Mendoza is better than Roy. I really, truly do, and they still got Roman Hemby in the backfield. They got great receivers. That offense is clicking, and that defense is absolutely stout when you're getting coached by Signetti. Indiana is my best bet, -6.
I wouldn't disagree. Very similar idea. 3:30 Big Ten opener. Take Nebraska +1.5. I gave you all the details throughout the show. It's a coming-of-age game. If this loses, I will live with it. These are the spots you target in college football. 4 straight losses, have never beaten Michigan in this conference. It's where they have a significant advantage, and they're facing a quarterback who just turned 18 less than 2 months ago. An opportunity to dominate. Take Nebraska and let's cash. We'll go into the questions here. We have a few. I know we haven't talked about every game. Of course, it's very difficult to talk about more than 6 to 9 games just in a 30-minute show because there's so many games on college football Saturday. But Gunz, feel free to just flow whatever you want.
Ooh, the pirate ship. Oh man, I have a little piece of my heart. I have a hat back here for the ECU Pirates. They were a team that I've loved in the past, but this didn't really hit my radar. I think I'm going to get on them once I get into conference play. I'm not just into them now, so it's a pass for me on that one, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. How do you not love? This one. Okay. I was going to go to the first one about North Texas. Yeah. How do you not love North Texas over Army? It doesn't seem like a margin win. Truthfully, I think that's kind of the zigzag effect of college football. You blow one team out 1 week at home, go on the road. This could be a tough game. I haven't really gone into this. I actually saw Scott Van Pelt took Army. He seems to be on a heater. Yeah. What do you think?
I disagreed with a lot of Scott Van Pelt's picks this week when I was watching it this morning. But I wanted to take the North Texas spot. I think they were a 6-point dog last year, and now they're a favorite, I believe, on the road. Very tough place to play in West Point. And why I'm staying away from the side is strictly on the reason of how I think Army's coming off a bye week, so they're going to be prepared for this one. And then Army beat Kansas State. How they beat Kansas State was kind of alarming. They held the ball for 40 minutes out of 60. I mean, they held it over 40 minutes. And I think with Monk and knowing that his offense is not as good as it was last year, this is a team that won the AAC. I think that's going to be a strategical thing with him is like, we're just going to kill as much clock as possible and then just force this team to get rusty on the offensive side. So I think that is going to be the mentality going into this game. I know North Texas really has a good rush defense that makes me hesitant to take the side. But I think if the Army has the ability to get first downs and methodically kill the clock, that's going to be tough for that North Texas team to find rhythm on the offensive side. So from a side standpoint, I'm staying away.
Yeah, I agree. It's a tough game. The line is on North Texas. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. I really wouldn't. Some of these are just tough games. They're not conference games. They don't really have a lot of historical matchup data dating back decades. It's as Gunn said, the scheme is so unique with Army. It's kind of hard to read how they're going to match up. Now
man, just a mind guy. He just understands who his team is, and he finds ways to beat you. It doesn't work every time with the talent that he has. But I'm telling you, I was like, maybe focus a little bit on the total. That's probably what I would look at.
Yeah, no, yeah, and again, it's just tough. You get transfer portal. It's month one. It's a new age of college football. It's not as much. You go back 20 years. You get rivalry matchups. You have so much historical data. Coaches have been there forever. Players aren't switching teams every offseason. This is really where you just have to learn in September. And then it really gets very good in October, November, and into the playoffs. So final question here. We're talking UCF favorite over UNC. I like the Tar Heels on the money line. Honestly, I think it's a tough game. But I think we don't really know who the Tar Heels are. I mean, they got obviously blown out by TCU in the opener. 2 straight wins. Charlotte is consistently very poor. Richmond, not great either. UCF, also unimpressive. I honestly think this is another one that could go either way. What do you think?
I hate back in Belichick. I just don't like that team at all. Watching that TCU one is still stuck in my mind. Even though they won last week, they beat a lackluster team. They're going to the bounce house. Historically, the bounce house is one of the toughest places to play in the country. And they're -6, which is weird in this line against UNC. Lean UCF, but is that going to be on my card? Hell no. I want to see a little bit more out of Belichick. Maybe Belichick will find some rhythm there. To coach up Lopez, Gio Lopez, the quarterback on this one. They do have some talent from the transfer portal, but I don't think they've had time to gel. So a big pass for me, lean towards UCF in the bounce house, though.
Yeah, as I said, it could go either way. And it's just so new. We're talking about, all these players moving, all this stuff. I mean, this is Bill Belichick, his 4th career game as a college football coach. I mean, we have generally kind of no idea what's going to happen in this game.
Right. Yeah, you understand. He's what, a couple games in as a college football coach. We know what he can do in the pros. I mean, ideally, it ended bad with the Patriots, but we haven't seen Bill Belichick and the coaches that he has. He has his son doing the defensive coordinating, and then Freddie Kitchens, who's only coaching the NFL. So I can't get behind this UNC team whatsoever. So yeah, that's why I'm passing.
Yeah, and again, we don't really have any sort of projection like with Belichick. I do think he's going to find his way. I mean, the guy was the best, NFL coach of all time. Clearly, he knows ball. I think it's going to take some time. This could take a season or two. We could be sitting here next year in the middle of the year. All of a sudden, they have a really impressive conference win. Everybody goes, okay, the light has been turned on. For the Belichick version of the North Carolina Tar Heels. So it's very easy to be impatient with guys that are called the GOAT, and everybody thinks, well, how could he ever lose? It's a totally new sport. So just be patient. I think he'll figure it out. But that is that. Gunz, 39 minutes of the absolute fire. As always, give him some words, and I'll close it out.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat that's joined, or shout out to everybody that's watching. I mean, just hit the like button. If you're watching this video on the Jay Cavalier channel, go to YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitter, appreciate the support on Twitter, but get over to YouTube and support us as well. Get into the comment section. I mean, I appreciate all the comments that come. Adam Batman, Miggy Smalls, Tayon Blunt, Wacky Wizard coming back from the grave. We have exactly Titan CC, all you beautiful bastards. We got Chad Gillespie, love the name on that one, but please just check us out on Instagram as well. Why Lose Guns? Why Lose Shark? Check out the content we're going to be putting out. We put out free videos all the time. We put out free picks all the time. And then you can go to our Telegram as well. Our Telegram, we give out these great deals for the VIPs in NFL, college football. I know Shark's going to be lit up when NBA comes around. I'm going to be lit up when college basketball comes around. Take advantage of the deals that we got right now. That's why you need to sign up, or not even sign up for our Telegram. You just click the link, you join for free, and you can go hang out and just enjoy the free picks that we're giving on a daily basis. But that's going to do it. Appreciate it, Shark. Shark of the Gun, week 4. Let's dominate Saturday.
Yeah, without question. And as Gunz said, we're starting up NBA in a month. We got college basketball. We will be back, as always, Sunday morning at 10 or 11 in the morning. We'll figure that out. Can't wait for that.
I'm sorry, one more thing that I forgot to mention. 9 a.m. Instagram Live. Go to my Instagram, @whylose_guns. I'm going to be doing talking to the chat. Ask me all the questions you want about college football. I'll give you my opinions. I'll stay with you guys for an hour. You got me from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Please join me. Electric chat last week, and I appreciate even Shark joining the chat. Appreciate all you guys joining, but please, anybody else, please share along. I give the sharpest information on the planet, and of course, Shark does as well. So you got me for an hour. So shoot the questions. I'll give my opinions.
Yeah, it's a great live show in the morning. It's much more interactive, and truthfully, we only get so many of these college football Saturdays. We have to enjoy them, and the conversation wins. That's the show for tonight. Hope you guys have a great night. Let's cash these tickets. Always bet responsibly. As I said, we can make it seem so convincing. There's always a bit of a side that could go abstractly, but we plan, as always, to dominate. For Jay Cavalier, cash tickets around the world, the prop master Luke Shuey and Coach Rick. He is the gun. I'm the shark. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation.